screens our lights unite. Classrooms stretch beyond four walls. Through every challenge day and night, our faith and growth still calls. Parents guide with gentle hands. Teachers walk each step inside. Together building future lands where values never hide. Though paths may shift and seasons change, our hearts stay close, our goals arrange. A journey set by trust and care, a mission we all share. These are the bridges we create, from school to home, from heart to heart. Learning grows and values shape, in every role we play our part. Work in progress day by day. Hand in hand we find our way.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening sa inyong lahat.
Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Ako nga pala si Jean Kenneth M. Ilagan.
Ako si Louis Benedict Ignacio.
I am Albert Alvin H. De Jesus.
This is Dr. Giselle Barion.
This is Telma Maranya.
This is Attorney Dwight Ramos.
I am Dr. Evelyn Songko and I am happy to be with you.
Ikinagagalak ko makasama kayo lahat sa isa na namang makabuluhang kwentuhan dito sa Bridges.
Excited naman ako sa introduction mo, Dr. Louis. And I'm really so excited to be here.
It's really my pleasure to be invited here because this is a very good platform po. Not to be only bridging faith, hope, and love, but at the same time bridging the bond between the alumni and their alma mater.
Kaya tayo meron sa Patusan as a culminating activity of our devotional practices to the Blessed Mother, because all devotions to the Blessed Mother should always lead to Jesus.
Ang mga popular na issues sa mga Pilipino, no? Yung mga may kinalaman sa sikmura, mga economic issues, trabaho, inflation. Pero kahit ganyan pa, makikita na ang mga Pilipino nagbibigay ng attention sa mga political issues gaya ng West Philippine Sea issue.
We need our future generations to meet their own needs without sacrificing also yung mga needs natin na nararanasan natin ngayon. So we need this clean air, malinis na hangin, malinis na tubig, yung lupa natin hindi pa poison, then okay pa yung mga karagatan natin, okay pa yung mga kabundukan natin.
O kaya naman dati maayos ang pagsasamahan ng mag-asawa, bigla na lang may nangyayari na hindi nila inaakala at yung kanilang family bond humihina. Pati yung relasyon nila sa Diyos biglang humihina.
I love you. I love Jesus, Holy Spirit, and Mama Mary. Thank you and God bless.
The PAR is not out there to, use taxpayers. Di pag nalugi yung taxpayers, di mo babawasan yung magbabayad ng tax.
First and foremost, we embrace change. We need to cultivate our passion for learning and to be flexible based sa Tomasian values ng commitment, competence, and compassion.
Go back to your core. When things are really, really tough, when you're going through transitions, when you're going through changes, go back to who you are as a person and as a leader. And at the same time, yung core values natin as Tomasans dati, perfect din parate as a guide for me. Always have to be competent, you always have to be committed, and more importantly, the compassion side of it is gonna be your edge in any kind of workplace that you're gonna be working.
Happy anniversary to Bridges. Here at Bridges, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love.
All right. Good afternoon, fellow Tomasians. In our digital age, where technology is deeply woven into every aspect of our lives, the threats we face today are becoming more and more sophisticated and unpredictable. From hacking and data breaches to ransomware attacks and even state sponsored cyber espionage, malicious actors are constantly adapting their tactics to exploit new vulnerabilities. As the threat landscape evolves, so must our approach to cybersecurity. No? In this week's episode of Bridges, join us as we delve into the current state of cybersecurity, explore emerging challenges, and discuss how individuals, organizations, and governments can stay ahead in this relentless digital arms race through advanced technology solutions, quantum secure encryption, a strong adaptive defense model, and a robust security culture. Greetings to everyone, to the Tamashan community, and welcome back to this episode of Bridges. I am Jomar de la Peña. I am currently the president or the national commander of the University of Santo Tomas Golden Cross and Sabre Alumni Association Incorporated. I am a member of the Magsindugo class of 1993, and I work for OB Montessori Center as its subject coordinator for CAT, the CAT commandant, and I'm also the the director for external affairs of the Operation Brotherhood Community Foundation. For 30 years na po yan as an educator. And I also work with the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary as their director for international affairs. But for today, Tomashan tayo. With me today, my fellow Tomashan and fellow member of the board, Sir Ralph Alo. Sir.
Magandang hapon po, sir, at sa ating fellow Tomasian communities. Once again, I'm Ralph Alo from the class of 2005 UST AB Political Science. I'm also the treasurer of the Golden Cross and Sabre Alumni Association. I'm also an educator. I'm a part-time faculty in the College of Commerce. And also, I'm a banker working for Union Bank of the Philippines.
Hey, so Ralph, today, medyo exciting, no? And very current yung issue natin in this episode because we're going to delve on cybersecurity. And exciting because I think under our watch, ito yung first episode natin, sponsored by the UST Golden Cross and Sabre Alumni Association.
Very true, sir. But friends, fellow Tomasians, before we proceed, please like and share and of course subscribe to our Facebook page and follow our Tomasian Alumni Community or TAC in the YouTube channels. Once again, that's TAC or the Tomasian Alumni Community in our YouTube channel.
All right. So again, as mentioned, no, we're sponsoring today's episode. But before we go for any further, siguro, Ralph, best that we introduce sino ba ang members ng Golden Cross and Sabre Alumni Association? Okay. Tayo ay we're all from different colleges of the university, but our common factor is that we are all advanced ROTC graduates, no? And we started, this is our 89th year, no? We started in 1936. And some of us are in the armed services, some are in the Army, Marines, but most of us, kung ano yung college degree natin, we pursued this and become leaders. But most of us are in the reserve force, no, of the Army because the UST is under the ROTC. But our core functions again, no, yung ating main functions as an alumni association is continuance lang of what the reserve force is doing, environmental protection, we do community relations, we help out during disaster preparedness, and recently ito yung awareness on issues of national security and civil defense, no? Recently what we've done so far is we've initiated river cleanup sa Pasig River, no? And we've also adopted sa Ternate yung ating artificial reef. For community relations, we've already done medical missions, dental missions, one in Mindoro with Dr. Rory Tuason, and then just recently sa Mabalacat, Pampanga, partnering with the Coast Guard and Operation Brotherhood Community Foundation. And then June 9 to 11, we did our Brigada Eskwela sa ating adopted community in Bugay, Cagayan, where we helped out 120 students. No, tama-tama, opening of classes, no, kahapon. And then we're preparing for disaster response. And as mentioned kanina, our thrust is to inform our Tomasian community of the current issues surrounding national security. We've done one already with General Hernandez last week, yung on archipelagic defense concepts. And today, we're sharing naman one other topic, which is cybersecurity. Ralph, introduce natin ang ating kasamahan ngayon.
Yes, sir. Our guest of honor for today is no other than Colonel Rolando J. Ong, MNSA, Infantry and Reserve of the Philippine Army. Currently, he is the head of cybersecurity architecture covering the Asia Pacific, Japan, and the Middle East operations for Asperic AG. This is a global Swiss cybersecurity solutions company based in Switzerland. He is also a product of the UST ROTC class of 1992 and also officer candidate course of the Metropolitan Citizens Military Training Command. He is also a graduate of the Masters in Public Management major in Development and Security from the Development Academy of the Philippines, and also a graduate of the Masters in National Security Administration or MNSA from the National Defense College of the Philippines or NDCP. With that, once again, let's welcome our guest of honor, Colonel Roland J. Ong of the Philippine Army Reserve. Sir.
Sir, magandang hapon.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to all our attendees for this session today. I'm very grateful that, I'm back. This is my second time actually in Bridges. I was invited about how many years ago? That was July 2, 2022, when I talk about cybersecurity. What do we need to know? So in this case, we will be putting a bit of a twist and looking into how cybersecurity or cyber as a domain affects our daily lives and how it impacts every nation and each and every one of us, wherein we are actually basically living in this so-called digital age. So, Ralph, siguro I would like to mention to you, it's nice to see you both, Jomar and Ralph. Pinabata mo nga lang ako, I belong to 91.
91, sir. Class 91. I'm sorry.
Isang taon lang naman.
So, it's actually a very, very exciting time these days, no? Because everything is pretty much working mainly on ones and zeros, sabi nga nila, no? We're all living in a digital way of life. So, very timely itong ating discussion ngayon.
Yes, sir. Okay. So, first question siguro, sir. Ano ba ang cyber domain? Hanggang saan ba ang sakop niyan? Para naman maintindihan po natin.
Okay. So siguro let me just put it in the context wherein in the Philippines, pag tiningnan natin to sa defense establishment, we're talking of mainly the land, sea, and air, di ba? Land for the Army, of course, sea, Navy, air for the Air Force. Then way back 2023 or 2013 rather, a fourth domain was introduced. Ito yung cyber domain. This one encompasses all these three kasi nga we're talking of the internet or we call it the cyberspace. And kung titingnan natin yan naman dito sa ating way of life, no, the way we do things on a regular basis, naging parte kaagad ito ng ating ng ating buhay, especially when we had this we were all forced to live in it with it nung magkaroon ng pandemic. And as you may recall, di ba, everything is being done using our smart devices.
Yes.
No? Pag-order ng pagkain,
transfer ng funds,
transfer ng
online
funds,
na lahat.
no?
Yan.
And a lot of these things na in a technical parlance, sabi nga ng mga nasa technical field is we're literally dealing with ones and zeros. And in a way, it gives, so to speak, it makes technology a way for us to make life easier. However, itong yung however natin doon is it also made these unscrupulous guys no?
Mhm.
Itong may mga bad intent in doing their things the easier way as well. That's why
Mm.
scams and a lot of this irregular or illegal activities popped up, no, nung magsimula nga tayo nitong tinatawag nating digital way of life. And unfortunately, it goes on and on. And alam naman natin na those who were affected by that mainly were actually attacked on the aspect of human vulnerability. Kasi yan ang talagang target ng ating mga ika nga natin bad actors.
Okay, sir. So everyone here, basta you're connected to the internet, you're vulnerable.
Technically, yes.
Oo.
And we have to be very, very cognizant in everything that we do online. Kasi alam
Mhm.
naman natin, di ba? Well, not just online, but in anything that we do. Kasi nga, di ba, if you were to look at it, if you wanna be viral, it's so easy. Do
Yes, sir.
something, I would say, quote unquote,
Crazy.
stupid. You
Mhm.
will be your video will be taken and
Uploaded.
you become a sensation overnight. Di ba?
Okay.
So, we just really have to be very, very cognizant. We have to be very, very careful with the things that we do online because even though there may be some sort of these takedowns sa mga published na mga posts, but there will always be digital footprint. At alam mo naman ng mga tao ngayon, magaling mag-screen grab, ika nga nila. Even though you made a comment, it was deleted already, but it can easily and readily resurface anytime because of, the ability of these people to leverage on technology to be able to recover that. Wala pang pinag-uusapang forensic aspect dyan, ha? Simpleng
Mhm.
screen grab lang yon, which is pretty much a talent of every smartphone users these days.
Okay. So everything I post on the internet is open.
Technically, yes,
Technically,
it's
yes,
open.
no? So vulnerable talaga siya, sir. Okay. That's on
Exactly.
the personal level. But ang tanong naman is the armed forces also uses technology. Tama po, to protect itself. So ano naman, sir, ang role mo dyan as one of the practitioners in cybersecurity?
Well, I've been since I jumped into the professional career, I mainly focused on network-centric warfare and operation because during that time when I landed my first job with IBM, I got into networks immediately, and most of this technology is something that is being extended as well as a requirement or as a service na ginagawa natin sa armed forces. And of course, after that, I swing into the end user phase side wherein I joined a telco. Back then, no, wala pa tayo hindi pa ganun kapopular ang mobile phones dahil sobra pang mahal. Uso pa noon ang landline. If you recall, yung competitor or competitive local exchange carrier noon ng PLDT owned by the Lopez, we were the pioneers in that and we established the infrastructure. So I got that exposure and then eventually, when I moved into a multinational company where I spent 15 years, that is in Cisco, that's where I got exposed heavily in this type of technology, not just in the country but even in the areas that I cover because I handle Asia Pacific, Japan, and Greater China that time. So that's all in all 14 countries wherein I have I have my consulting solutions architect and consulting engineers under my wing. So in the armed forces side, of course, that's part of every operation that they have to conduct. Oh? And ang masasabi natin kasi the technology is evolving like crazy ika nga nila. And the only challenge that it's not just the armed forces, but even the other, I would say, enterprise, as I would say, is that in order for you to catch up, you will really have to invest. And minsan, yan yung nagiging drawbacks ng every organization. So I'm not just singling out our armed forces, but even, our enterprise, our banks, right? Our utility companies. There are cost implication if you want to jumpstart and be in be with the pack ika nga nila. And of course sometimes hindi siya nagiging appreciative no as far as the board of directors are concerned. And only just recently wherein the attacks are left and right, lumabas na itong nila na dapat whole of society approach ito. And dapat even in the government, it should be whole of nation approach. 'Di ba? Hindi lang whole of government. Bakit? Kasi at the end of the day, it's both government and the private sector must work hand in hand. So it's not unique here in our country. And we've been in my previous stints when I got exposed mainly in the Western countries, medyo pareho rin ang problema. Iba-iba lang yung level, no? If you're a first world country wherein your pocket is quite deep, hindi masyadong challenging yun sa kanila. But for countries like us and some of our counterparts in the region, it's pretty a challenge. And the saddest reality there is, of course, if the executives will still think of it as a luxury rather than a necessity, pati tayong mga end user affected, because the services that will be rendered to us, like for the case of the service providers, kung hindi nila lalagyan ng matinong guardrails ang kanilang infra, saan ba dumadaan itong mga activities that were actually conducted by the bad elements? Through their infra. And how it gets to us, of course, it passes through the infra because we actually engage their services. So medyo may konting lang diyan, may yung reality check, some realize it earlier. Some realize it because they've been hit.
Too
and
late na.
hit big time, too late.
Mhm.
And alam nyo naman, I've been into a series of board meetings wherein I am the resource, wherein the objective of the board is who to blame, whose head should roll. No? Alam mo naman, sa corporate world, di ba, Ralph? Ganyan na
Okay.
ganyan.
So
And it's so hard. It's so hard because they end up pointing at you and say, hey, who do you think is culpable for this issue?
Hmm.
So it's just like putting words into your mouth so that you will end up, roasting someone so that his or her head will roll. And I've been in
Pinpointing the
so
blame
many
na.
engagement similar to that it's really, really very that mindset I believe should be changed, no? And malaking bagay 'yon kasi ngayon with this day and age, everything is internet speed. So
Yes.
wala na yung traditional approach.
So ito na yung between being reactive and proactive. You're saying everyone should be proactive.
Yes.
So when you say infra, anong ibig sabihin ng putting the infrastructure into it? What do you mean by that?
Well, the infrastructure, let's say if I talk about the service providers, for example.
Hmm.
So, of course, the one that provides the signal to our mobile devices are mainly the cell towers.
Mhm.
That towers connects to the mobile switching center. And then that mobile switching center is interconnected into the whole in their whole footprint, no, na meron sila sa bansa natin, which is through a network. So
Mhm.
that's the infrastructure that
Okay.
actually serves us. That's why whenever we go anywhere, we have constant connection. We don't get disconnected because the infra is actually reaching our endpoint, so to speak. So, and in every operation, even in a corporate environment, like for example, Bro Ralph here is actually in the banking
The
sector.
banking industry, yeah.
Yeah. All their ATM machines are connected into their core banking system, wherein their core banking system has its respective database of clients and all this other information that, of course, are not just readily available at the disposal of anyone because, of course, it's actually protected by our own very own Data Privacy Act.
Mhm.
And if you were to look at it, anything we call it in our parlance the personal identifiable information or the PIIs, no? Yan yung meron sa national ID natin, yan yung nandyan sa ating mga identification that has data inside of it, like of course your birth date, your home address, right? Your mother's maiden name. Noon, 'di ba? Yan ang uso eh. Whenever a credit card validation has to be made, they ask for your birthday and ask for your mother's maiden name. Hindi pa uso nun ang OTP, right? No, yung one-time password until na bago yan at naging EMV type na yung ating yung ating approach. But just the same, if we are trying to advance, no, being good guys, the bad guys at some point ends up a step ahead. A step ahead because for them They've got nothing to lose. They don't even care about the law, no? So for them, if they need this specific approach wherein they have to invest, they invest. That's it, without any consideration that they will be violating the Privacy Act, they will be violating a specific policy or law.
And so
So
my
medyo mahirap, di ba?
and so my question, sir, is to me, cybersecurity or defense is largely an individual and even corporate responsibility. But like you said earlier, this is a whole of society approach. So that's my question. As far as the government is concerned, what is the primary government agency that should guide us or that should create a policy framework for cybersecurity and defense? And is there even a cybersecurity framework from the government?
Well, let's answer first who is in charge, no? In the Philippines, the one that was actually tasked to do that is the Department of Information and Communications Technology. And
DICT.
they were
Okay.
actually tasked to come up with the National Cybersecurity Plan. And
Okay.
take note, no? That's the plan. And then there should be action associated into that. Of course, the National Security Council, which is actually composed of the critical infrastructure agencies, like, of course, from the defense, law enforcement, the utilities, the judiciary, and finance, siyam yata sila o 10, no? They were the ones who actually, through the auspices of the National Security Council, came up as well with our National Security Plan and the National Security Strategy. Back then, there is an associated cybersecurity aspect inserted in both. But most of the countries, even prior to the pandemic, had their specific cybersecurity plan and cybersecurity strategy. Kaya nga nung nangyari ngayon, nung pumasok na itong ating Department of Information and Communications Technology, they were tasked to oversee that and should be able to blend it with our NSS or National Security Strategy and our NSP or the National Security Plan. Yan yung mandate ng sa kanila, no? Mandate ng batas kasi just like now, because I was actually one of the resource who was actually tasked to look after this. Naglabas na rin tayo ngayon nito. This one is the National Security Policy from 2023 to 2028, meaning this is up to the current administration's coverage.
Admin.
Oo, ang current admin natin. Ayan, no? And then meron din itong kalalabas lang din nila na National Security Strategy. So one thing that is actually I would say progressing in this case, no, in our country is that kahit paano hindi na three sentences dito yung cybersecurity aspect. Medyo lumawig na. And then the National Cybersecurity Plan that came from the Department of ICT or DICT, yun naman ang kailangan nilang banggaan ng courses of action, no? Kaya ngayon, ang isa sa mga initiative ng ating DICT is to level up yung awareness campaign, no? Even doon sa mga suburbs kasi if you were to notice, ang laki ng hit ng mga cybercrime related victims yung mga nasa suburbs, yung ating mga farmers, yung mga iba nating mga nabibiktima palagi ng mga scams. So, isa yan sa initiative nila. But of course, hindi lang naman dapat DICT ang tumingin dyan. That's why even the institutions like the schools or even the yung mga solutions providers comes up with their own they came up with their own initiatives as well. Mag conducting forums, no, related to this. Medyo targeted nga lang yon kasi they invite specific industries, no? Kasi depende kung ano yung kanilang business interest at yun lang yung naiimbitahan nila. So we're hoping that this initiative would even be broadened into the level that talagang maging true to the blue na whole of, whole of nation approach na siya. Kasi yung mga nakakaintindi na, it's okay. Kasi, you know, there are some cases wherein kahit yung mga, ika nga natin, yung awareness ay mataas na, minsan napipilayan pa rin sila on the very basic aspects lang ng cyber. No? Yung kagaya nung sabi nga natin, di ba, may kasabihan tayo, before you click, think. Medyo nadali yung human vulnerability. Like a very common, one of these very common case, no, is the threat actor now tends to ride on an issue, no, pertaining to, for example, a person or a celebrity. Halimbawa, there's this one in one country wherein nagkalat ang QR code, no, nakalagay sa mga public bulletins, nakalagay sa mga posts sa mga malls. Ano nakalagay? I know you cheated on me. Then the namesake, no? Ikaw, akala mo, yung artista yun ah. Tapos, I have the proof here. So, the QR code is there. Human vulnerability, ang inaatake doon. Ngayon, kung tayo, masyadong affected doon sa naging issue nung celebrity na yon, you will think na, siya yata to ah. And what will you do? You scan the code.
Scan the code.
Right? And that's it. At the end of the day, it doesn't show what is being promised. You proof down na that guy cheated. But eventually, something that you access will end up springboard to an organization that you belong, and that begins the attack, yung compromise. So yun yung mga mga modus, no? Ang daming mga modus ngayon. I mean, even here, well, this is not common here in the Philippines though. We've encountered this mainly sa Eastern European countries na nakikisabay pa kung saan merong mga matitinding conflict, no? Because I mean,
may bait sila.
Oo, may mga may mga clickbait na approach. Meron silang mga approach wherein they even call you, no? And pretend to be a customer service officer of your bank, which they know you by name, they know your account number, and then they will just simply tell you that merong we have reason to believe that your account might have been compromised. The reason why we're calling you, remember, you will be receiving a call at 11 p.m. maybe. I mean, it happened to one of my systems engineer's wife, no, who's based in Singapore, wherein she was called at about 11:15 p.m. and may I speak with Mrs. So and so. So of course, this is she. May I know who's this? This is your customer service officer from this bank, and we have reason to believe that your account might have been compromised. And we are calling you because we would like to safeguard your account, and we need to reset your credentials. So you will be receiving a one-time password, and you have to dictate it to me. So, ikaw, siyempre, human vulnerability yung tinarget. In your case, kung ikaw yung recipient ng call, you might not think of anything na irregular anymore because your main objective is to safeguard my hard-earned money.
Account. Yeah.
Oo. So anong gagawin mo? Pagkakita mo nung OTP, may capital letter pa yon. Never share OTP to anyone, right? Tapos yun na, your OTP is, and 6-digit, and it will be effective for the next X number of minutes. So anong ginawa mo? You immediately dictated that to the caller, and then the caller will say, "Okay, thank you very much. We'll get back to you." So yung pala, yung caller na yon happens to know the details of your account, establishes a reset password request, and an OTP had to be sent to validate that that's the right, that the system is dealing with the right person. So ngayon, ang isa pang problema, na bago nakapasok na siya ngayon, kasi nakuha na niya yung OTP, hindi siya nag-set ng limit ng transfer. So sad to say that wife of my SE lost an equivalent of I think $35,000 that time. So hindi siya nakatulog kasi her account was literally wiped out.
Sir, if I may, ang ano doon is that these hackers will hack the bank first to get your details and then go
Well,
individually. Would that be the case? Kasi where do they get the information? My information.
yeah. Yes or no, no?
Oo.
If it's a well-oiled operation, sometimes they were able to. Well, we've been into some investigations wherein the bank system itself was actually compromised.
There are instances.
Namang wherein pipiliin lang nila kung sino may pinakamalaking ano, no? What do you call this? Savings, account balance, no? And then yung iba naman is yung tinatawag nating man in the middle concept, wherein you're already targeted but they don't know anything, and then they employ some technology to be able to at least siphon the moment you transact business online, no? Kasi meron na tayong may mga ganyang approach. Or the other one is just simply you being targeted, and then the easiest way is, of course, if I know your name, I know your account number, I know your I know your mobile number, I just simply call you. And then, nanghula ako ng user account, di ba? And then, ang mangyayari ngayon, pwede ko pang tanungin sa'yo, we need to reset your user account before the password. So, anong gagawin nila? Tatanungin nila ngayon, tatanungin ka ngayon ng ano nga pala ang current user ID mo. You just give the first point. The second point is, since reset password siya, anong gagawin? Two modes in resetting the password. Whether the OTP will be sent over your mobile phone or you activated in your bank's system a counter check wherein an email will be sent to you. Then ayun na, nabigay mo na siya lahat. So ang challenging part dito kasi is sometimes when you receive a call, one way to check is, of course, number one, hindi siya dapat full E164 number. Because if it's, pag sinabi kong full E164, yung tinatawag nilang kompletong numero, +63, and then area code and the number.
Okay.
Kasi normally, customer service representatives of every bank uses their own pilot number, wherein you don't even be able to call back. No, but it is a published number. Like for example, if it's the Ayala-owned BPI, it's 89100. Union Bank has its own also. Metro Bank has its own. So if the caller is actually on a full E164 11-digit number, you better doubt already. That's number one.
Wait,
Number two,
E164 means a personal number for somebody who has
ano siya, yung the normal number that the normal caller ID that you receive from a caller that is not listed in your address book.
In your address. Wala siya. It's just a number. Medyo,
parang
oops, red flag
+63.
na yun.
Oo, kasi unang-una, bank will never use that. And number two, kung familiar kang tumingin ng prepaid o postpaid numbering scheme, if it's prepaid, another red flag. But of course, not everyone knows ano yung series
the numbers,
ng prepaid. Like for example, if you receive a 0927 plus 63927 pilot number, that's a prepaid of Globe.
Globe, yeah. But if it's plus 6917,
well, pwede rin may 63917 din kasing prepaid eh.
May prepaid.
204, let's say 204 series, that's a prepaid. Nung sinauna. And nung naubos na, nagdadagdag sila. But it's not easy for a normal user to detect that. Yeah. Sa amin, kasi kabisado namin eh. Alam na, scammer to. Kaya whenever we had those activities at naligaw sa aming telepono, sigurado, huli yan. So, ang easiest way lang talaga is if it's a call from the bank, it shouldn't be using that full number sa caller ID. That's number one. And number two, of course, by rule, you never give any information. Also,
Especially the OTP.
yes, lalong-lalo na yung OTP. Kasi kahit you file a case with NBI Anti-Cybercrime Unit or the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group,
If you give
itatanong lang sa'yo, why were they able to obtain the OTP? Did you provide it? Pababasa sa iyo, anong nakalagay sa SMS? Can you please read it to me from the beginning? O di ba naka-capital letter 'yon? Never share your your OTP. So
Tagalog pa minsan.
minsan Tagalog pa.
Yeah.
So iba pag they will simply drop that case because it will not prosper in court simply because you have part
Scam.
in. Oh. And just to let you know, both NBI and PNP, process scams, cases of scams of multiple levels of multiple ika nga natin phases, at least 2,000 a day each, si NBI at si PNP. So ganun kalala. Ganun kalala. Yeah. Ngayon, ito pa. Ang isa pa nating problema ngayon is there's this already phishing, yung voice mimicking someone you know.
Another person. Yeah.
Oo. And minsan din, 'di ba, you will receive an automated or an interactive voice response call. And all you need to do to wait for you is to say yes. And that yes constitutes concurrence to whatever they're actually asking you. But the sad part there is, pag tinanong kang, is this Roland Ong? Pag sinagot mong yes, yung recorded kong yes can be used into other things that they may actually get out to you, like letting you become a member of this so-called organization or another credit card with some premiums and all those things. So we really have to be very, 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 very careful when it comes to lalo na ngayon sa calls, because they're very I would say they're trained to literally leverage on the human vulnerability. Na master yan. May school daw ng ganyan eh. I mean among this
Hackers,
scrupulous,
scammers, hackers, and all that.
yes. Oo.
Okay, so there's the threat to your bank account, to your Facebook account, and all that. How do I secure it on a personal level, sir?
Well, for number one, yung ating gagawin ngayon is this. Kung halimbawa like in our case, we use our phone, no? And then when we use our phone, if we intend to use our mobile device for online banking system, of course, the banks has their own security measures to associate to ensure that your credentials are secured, no? So your part naman should be at least you have to be very, very observant din, no? When it comes to putting in a specific application in your mobile device. 'Di ba? Ang dami ngayon nauuso, 'di ba, mga productivity tools that are free, games that are free. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, except that probably if you are actually paranoid enough, you'll probably have to at least check the reputation of that application. Sometimes in Apple Store or Google Play, they show you the ratings and there are comments, 'di ba? One thing that you can actually start doing before downloading anything in your mobile device is to check those reviews. And number two, minsan kasi subjective yan. Meaning, the one who is actually putting in reviews there, most probably are the developer themselves.
Yes, indeed.
Then you have Mr. Google. Just search anything on that specific application, experiences, third-party inputs. Then, make, ika nga natin, you just have to be discerning on whether, okay, if I will install this, ito yung magiging, sabi dito sa independent review, ito yung mga possible na magiging natin, issues.
In other words, due diligence.
Due diligence, yes.
Okay.
Oo.
You have to be vigilant.
We have to be very, very cognizant in anything, no? Kasi ang problema natin dito, magaling tayo, lalo na pag libre. Now, if I ask you one more thing, the common issue that everyone is facing now is that, especially in downloading a specific application, they don't even bother reading the EULA or yung end user license agreement. Anong ginagawa mo?
Okay.
Next.
Next, accept.
Or accept, continue. Di ba?
Okay. Yung fine print,
Ang daming doon. Sabi ko, rin yan ploy din kasi yan ng mga developers. Kasi nga, who would want to read a fine print sa 5 pages tapos sa mobile phone mo babasahin, doon ka nga nagda-download. Di ba?
yes.
So, may mga portions naman yun that you might want to be, you might want to check. Kasi sometimes, nasa oversight din nung tao. Minsan kasi hindi nila naisip na, ay, libre naman to, walang problema, wala namang bayad. And then, for all you know, threat actors actually leverages it, lalong-lalo na if it's a very popular application. Like, you know the application that came out back then wherein who's your celebrity look-alike, di ba?
Okay. Tapos kina-capture yung...
They're actually capturing your entire profile already on that. Kasi remember, most of the cases that actually occurs now as far as breaches, no, lalo na sa mga nation-state sponsored actors, what they do is they just collect, and then
Wait
they
for the right
use it some other time. Like for example, they may be collecting encrypted files, and they may not have decryption capability at this time, especially if it's quantum secure. But in due time, if they already have that, then I have all the information ready for me to just open and take a look at it. So, yan yung mga nangyayari ngayon. And that's very prevalent, especially sa mga nation-state sponsored actors.
So
When
speaking
Russia
of-
started go ahead, Ralph.
Sorry. So far we've been so focused on the individual and corporate security. And now that you mentioned nation state sponsor or nation state attacks, 2 years ago or 3 years ago there was this investigation sa NGCP, and some were saying that with a click of a button China can disable our infrastructure, like for example our electricity infrastructure. So my question is, how true is that? Is it true that with a click of a button or series of buttons they can disable some of our infrastructure? And if so, if ever that happens, do we have
What's our line of defense?
what's our line of defense, in other
Yeah.
words?
Sige, sir.
Yeah. Well, technically, right? Technically, in a theoretical aspect, it is possible, and that has been proven in other countries, not just on the power grid, but probably in some other capabilities that that can be easily I would say, deactivated remotely. Dito sa atin kasi, when 40% of ownership of NGCP goes to CCCC, which is a Chinese, I would say, Chinese company, and the 60% still remains with the Filipino ownership, but it's 30-30, 30% C and then 30% Kuyuito. So kung titingnan niyo yung division, sino pa ang magiging majority owner? Parang si CCCC, di ba? Kasi single ownership 40%. Yung dalawang Pilipino combined 60 pero tigta 30. Now, when they decided to put up Huawei to actually run in parallel with the existing SCADA system or the supervisory control and access, no, dito sa ating power grid, the engineers back then of NGCP are very, very adamant in having it interconnected. Well, for one, the existing grid of NGCP, which runs on Siemens, has been working perfectly well, and it's way older than us to begin with. No? Hindi pa tayo pinapanganak, andyan na yung sistema na yan. And their only problem there is, and their only worry is that baka pag ginalaw, magka-problema. However, when this was actually during the time of then the late President Pinoy, I was still with the U.S. cybersecurity firm. You know, the same firm that actually investigated the world's largest cyber heist, the Bangladesh Central Bank. It was actually my team who actually investigated that. We offered a security gap assessment at no cost to them, to the National Security Advisor. Unfortunately, the board didn't agree. So the main point on that is because we want to make sure that the possibility of the system being controlled elsewhere will not happen. Kasi malalaman natin kung may mga backdoor access yan. And that's the only possibility if that would happen. No? Yung ganong scenario. And it's proven already. Remember when in the case of Ukraine, although hindi ito yung power grid, ito yung Javelin, yung missile system na binigay ng US under Biden administration kila Ukraine. Ano ang ginawa anong panahon ni Trump? It was disabled remotely. So they have this what do we call kill switch. That can just simply disable it. Now, I believe that's one thing that, of course, not just Americans, but also the other countries, with specific interest on that, are putting in their own intellectual property, so to speak, Kasi kagaya nitong ginagawa nila. But I think this is an exception. In the case of Israel, US cannot remotely disable it, because I think part of the deal is we will use our own avionics, we will use our own or if we will use your back-end control system, we will have the full view of it. So, dito sa atin, yan yung perennial, that remains to be a question to which, if you were to look at it, this is actually another angle doon sa tinatawag nilang what if the system is being breached by someone else. Like what happened in Ukraine, right? Way back 2015 of December, when the power grid was breached on December 23rd, the coldest period in Ukraine. So you could imagine that. But that's cyber attack, right? Ito, what you're saying, Ralph, is not even a cyber attack. It's actually a back-end or a backdoor access perpetrated by the ones who implemented the system in it. So, technically, possible, no? But, of course, when we are trying to at least validate it, unfortunately, it's quasi, hindi na sila 100% government, di ba? So, the board has the right to refuse it. So, that didn't happen even up to now. So, yan lang yung medyo risk din sa atin at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So, what's the way forward, sir, for us? For the individual and the government, what should we do? I mean, first as individuals, sir, how do we secure ourselves?
Yeah. Okay. Individually, well, of course, I think we just have to be very, very, I would say very, very watchful, vigilant, discerning, in anything that we do online.
Yes, sir.
Kasi minsan yung simpleng browsing mo to the web, simpleng access mo sa iyong social media accounts, for example, Facebook, and it so happened that you were able to at least, click on an interesting
and allowing, di ba? May mga allow this app to access your photos, allow access ganito. Yeah.
Yes,
So be discerning with that. No?
Yeah, you have to be very discerning with that. Kasi unang-una, if you're really interested on that specific area that you want to access there, but yun ang hinihingi sa'yo, ang common notion mo, photo, wala naman ng laman dito eh. Yes, di ba?
Yes ka lang. Allow
But
ka
you're
lang.
literally giving the
Access to.
system, no, to have access into your ano. Kaya nga maganda diyan may validation ano kahit
Mhm.
paano. But of course, yan yung mga measures that Meta had actually provided after they being slapped with a lot of violation penalties. Diba sa EU, ilang bilyon ang binayad ng mga ng Meta because of a couple of data privacy violations.
So the individual, sir, can look into yung two-factor authentication. Tama po ba yun? To secure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yung two-factor authentication is that is a very very important ika nga natin service at no charge sa
Mm.
mga social media accounts natin. Meta with its allied application like Instagram, WhatsApp, may two-factor authentication capability lahat 'yan. All we have to do is enable it
Enable.
and
Enable niya si
yeah.
two-factor authentication.
Yeah, so that at
Okay.
least pag sinabi kasing two-factor, one is you enter your password.
Mhm.
And then the second one is the random generated
And then confirm it in another application or email, right? Tama.
or another device in some cases. Oo. So yan yung no, on the personal note. And number two, marami namang we have a lot of the so-called cyber hygiene mechanisms that can readily be actually found online, no? Well, our own National Privacy Commission has its specific steps on how to be cyber hygiene
Mhm.
online, on how to take care of your laptop, your mobile devices. And there are lots also. Si Mr. Google lang ang sasagot niya, di ba?
Yes, sir.
And of course, at some point, you may probably be encountering some free application that can actually put some guardrails into it, although limited, no? But if it only costs you a few bucks, why not fortify
Yeah.
it instead? That's number one, no? And then number two, of course, ingat sa kasi most of the sites now are mainly AI generated. That if you notice, try and access in Facebook. I access about boxer dogs and everything now pops up on
Pops
boxer
up.
dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what it does is it has an inbuilt or built-in analytics that
May
profiles.
algorithm siya.
Yeah, there's an
Na
algorithm. that
nag-click ka ng isa, ayan, sunod-sunod na.
Yeah. Kaya wag kang mag-click diyan ng anything lewd because you would expect lahat lewd ang lalabas. Diba? May mga nakakalusot na alam nyo naman sa Facebook Meta, unless it's reported, it goes on undetected.
Puro Vatican News lang ang lumalabas sa akin eh. Tsaka
Magaling.
Kamasyan, Varsitarian, ganyan, no? Alumni relations, yan.
Yan. Yan yung sa personal side, ano?
Personal side.
Oh, there are some, there are lots of it if you really want to be very, very, I would say, ika nga natin, rock solid sa ating approach. But as an organization, well, basically, I would probably just go on the same thing because lalong-lalo na, si Brother Ralph dito, na taga-bangko, alam niya na
Invest talaga. Mag-i-invest sila.
that's one of the industry that is, very, very attractive to threat actors. No? And we see a lot of breaches on financial institutions left and right. Except that it's not publicly made available or publicly been known here in the country dahil wala naman tayong matigas pang full disclosure law, no? Ang idea sana niyan just like in the US wherein talagang igigisa ka sa Senate for the purpose of the others learning from what you actually just experienced. Yun naman yun eh. Kaya lang siyempre may impact kasi when breach happens, it's a reputational damage. And if you are an income generating entity, then your brand will be hit. Your profit will actually, tank. If you're a listed company, you expect that to happen as well. It will tank at some point. And of course, the board will simply ask whose head should roll. No? Then come to think of it, pinupost na pala yun ng kanilang technical team. But they didn't bother simply because it's so expensive daw. So,
Sir, by the way,
yeah.
we have a very interesting topic, but unfortunately, it's almost 6 o'clock.
Oo nga, no?
So, any final concluding words or advice for the Tomasian community?
Well, siguro what I can recommend or I would advise no sa the entire community natin dito sa Tomasian
Bridges.
community is of course na nandito ngayon sa Bridges is of course before you click, think. Number 2, we have to be always vigilant because at the end of the day, cybersecurity is everybody's responsibility. Hindi lang to dapat sa government, hindi lang to dapat especially in an organization, you just simply point it to your IT, you point it to your information security. No. It's not even it should be part of boardroom discussion sa corporate environment. And as a nation, it should be approached in a whole of nation approach. At hindi lang sasabihin natin na bahala na si DICT on this, bahala na si ano. And I think the only needed action here is for the highest leader in the land to have the strong political will to really put cyber as a national security concern. Because everything now, before even the kinetic war occurs, everything is all in asymmetric battle. What happened in Israel with Iran is a long-term asymmetric planning. Everything involves cyber. What happens in Ukraine and Russia is also an aftermath of an asymmetric war, which has turned into having a kinetic impact into what's going on now. So we just hope that each and every one of us in the Tomasian community maging mapagmatsyag, maging alisto, at more importantly, maging maingat.
All right. Maraming salamat, sir, for your time and sharing your experience and expertise with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir
To be
Roland.
part of this undertaking. At it's so nice for us to be in one actually virtual engagement such as this. Kahit paano nagkikita-kita tayo kahit saan man tayo sa mundo.
Ay, sir. At
Yes, sir.
nakakapag-share din tayo sa ating Tomasian community.
Exactly.
Alright, so we wish to thank our sponsors, of course, for today, the Golden Cross and Sabre Alumni Association, the UST Alumni Association, and also Dr. Carl Ibalita for helping extend the virtual reach of Bridges. So again, dear friends, dear fellow Tomasians, thank you for joining us today. Do watch us again next Tuesday. Ang episode naman natin, Threats to National Security. Also sponsored by the UST Golden Cross and Sabre Alumni Association. Subscribe to our UST Tomasian Alumni Community YouTube channel and our Facebook page. And the past episodes of Bridges can be viewed in that FB page and YouTube channel. You can also watch it via the Dr. Carl Ibalita's Facebook page. So, it was a pleasure hosting with you, Brother Ralph.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So remember, here at Bridges, we do not build walls, we build connections to reach out to one another.
We build bridges,
Bridges faith,
bridges of hope, and
and bridges of
bridges
love.
of love.
Enjoy the rest of the evening. Mabuhay po sa
Mabuhay.
ating lahat.
In homes and screens our lights unite, classrooms stretch beyond four walls. Through every challenge day and night, our faith and growth still calls. Parents guide with gentle hands, teachers walk each step inside, together building future lands where values never hide. Though paths may shift and seasons change, our hearts stay close, our goals arrange. A journey set by trust and care, a mission we all share. These are the bridges we create, from school to home, from heart to heart. Learning grows and values shape, In every role we play our part, work in progress day by day. Hand in hand we find our way. Bridges of hope, bridges of grace in this UST learning space.